Yeah, hey, Shadowy Cabal. It's Jesse from Pod Awful. I'm looking for Susan.
Just a moment, please. This is Susan.
Yeah, hey, Susan. It's Jesse from Pod Awful. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, well, actually not great. So you guys removed one of my videos. What was the deal with that? What happened to the whole circle of bullying thing?
I know. There was a problem.
A problem. Because I saw I got hit by the whole Netflix thing for the Norm episode. That was fair use.
That's my department. Okay? If you want that, I can transfer you to Ted Serrano's.
Okay, so Ted Serrano. Listen, I got to know, what did I do wrong this time? You're hitting me with all this bullshit this quickly.
You cannot joke about pedophilia.
What? Of all the things, it was that? So what, I'm not allowed to sit...
No, you are not allowed to joke about it.
But I could joke about anything else.
Anything.
Anything at all.
Anything.
So, just to be clear, if I made a joke about...
Anything.
Okay, well, I got a show to do.
Well, you can at least say bye.
Okay, then, listen, I need to come up with a joke then. I can joke about anything other than that. What can I joke about? Oh, I was looking at the news here just a second ago, and I see what Netflix is okay with jokes being... You know what? I've got it. The perfect joke. All right, you ready for this? So there's an old-timey 1930s style talent agency, vaudeville kind of stuff. Big fat guy sitting behind the desk. Best talent booker in all of vaudeville. This is the guy you go to. Big fat stomach. He's got a cigar. He's sitting there. A man walks in. He's got his hat in his hands. The guy looks desperate. The man says to him, the talent agent says, "I've seen them all, kid. You better have something good for me." The man says, "Well, sir, I think I got an act that's really going to knock you off your socks." Now, the talent booker, he's been around the block. He says to the guy, "Okay, you got one shot. Impress me, kid. Show me something I never seen before." The man says, "Well, listen, I got an act for you, okay? It's a family act." Talent booker says, "Listen, I got a lot of family acts, man. I mean, no. You don't understand. This is a family act unlike anything you've seen before, any audience has ever seen before. And we've been working on this, my family and I, for a long time. It's me, it's my wife, it's my son and my daughter." Now, the man's got a skeptical look on his face, but the guy keeps going. He says, "Now, here's the thing. My son and my daughter, they're not going to be the ones you think. You see, my son's my daughter's my son." What we've been doing is, before the act even started, we've raised these kids up since day one to be completely confused about gender norms. Every single gender role in society, we've told them, "Feh to that, you won't even understand left from right, much less penis from vagina by the time we're done with you." So every time my son went to go play with a monster truck or something, well, no, sir. I had him instead have a little tea party with a dolly. And every time my daughter wanted to play house, no, sirree. Instead, she was to play cowboys and Indians, and that's the way it was. We dress them all different. We cut our daughter's hair, shaved it all off, and let the son's hair grow out long as the day. And then things got interesting. You see, our kids, they're confused little kids. They developed gender dysphoria, and now they're unhappy with the very lives they lead. Now, the talent agent is looking at this man like, "I don't even understand some of these terms you're using." But the man continues. He says, "So here's what we do. We go on stage in front of crowds, and you won't believe the reactions we get from some of these crowds. These crowds, they really don't know what they've got coming to them." You see, what happens is our son and our daughter, they come out and we present them to the audience. And of course, everybody thinks, oh, this is the boy, this is the girl. We take down their clothes and we show the audience exactly the genitals that each of them has. Now, this is where things start to get a little bit strange. Maybe this is something you haven't heard before. I know you're an old hat at this, but we begin force feeding our children hormone blockers. I give my son estrogen. I give my daughter testosterone. And wouldn't you know it, you can watch it right before the audience's eyes. You can watch my son's testicles shrivel up into his body cavity. You can watch my daughter grow hair, the likes of which, you and I can't even compare. Your mustache, sir. This is an 8-year-old daughter, remind you. I mean, listen, when I tell you this is my daughter, I mean, this is my daughter, but she could grow. We have to take her to the barber after every show. She's growing a 5 o'clock shadow. Forget about it. We have to shave her directly beforehand. Now, we're force feeding these kids pills, some of them experimental in nature. We don't even have a full grasp on what all of these pills are up to, but these pills, we're force feeding them. They're swallowing them, and they're swallowing so many pills they can barely get it down. And it's just at this point, and this is what gets special. It's at this point that our family dog comes out on the stage. Now, this is a well-trained dog. What he does is he drags out 2 full surgical tables with all the fixins, every scalpel, every tool. We've got the jaws of life. We've got bone saws. We've got everything, okay? The dog comes out. He brings out our whole bag of tricks. He brings out the 2 tables, and we take our fully nude, fully confused children, and we set them up on the table. Now, the audience, a hush goes over the crowd as we begin to perform sexual reassignment surgery on these children. Now, when I tell you sexual reassignment surgery, this isn't your grandpa's or grandma's sexual reassignment surgery. No. This is cutting edge stuff. Back in the day, you get a girl like that on a table, you had to make a penile implant for her, maybe give her some sort of dildonic device. No. That is not what we're doing here. We're doing penectomies. We're doing mastectomies. We're doing vaginectomies. We're doing it all, okay? Phalloplasties, the whole deal. We are reconstructing genitals on a level that has been heretofore unseen by the public. It's an entire new scope of procedures going on. When we construct our son's neo-vagina, what we do is, there's a lot of non-penile inversion techniques nowadays. In the old days, what they would do is use a penile inversion technique, the whole rigmarole where they would take your penis, invert it into a vagina. It was sort of a method of inverting the penile skin, create the neo-vagina. Surgeons would perform it. They'd invert it and use the inferior pedicle skin of abdominal skin for the lining of the neo-vagina. The skin is cut then to form an appropriate sized flap. And then this skin flap will be combined sometimes with scrotal or urethral flap in order to produce a new feminine labia minora and labia majora. Not in our case. No. And what we do now, and this is where things get really, really kooky, is we take scrotal tissue and we use entire scrotal tissue to construct a brand new vaginal canal. No more dilating needed. We go in, we cut underneath the nipple, okay, directly, and we get up under the muscle, and we put an implant in our 8-year-old boy's chest. Now, this is because it is a submuscular implant. This will actually, once they've dropped a little bit, gravity's taken its toll, they're going to look a lot more natural for the men in his future life. Of course, with my daughter, science has not gotten exactly as far and long enough for us to get things going with her. It does involve some bone deconstruction. We do have to there's a certain amount of bone that we use. We shave it off of her pelvis, which also helps to remove some of the extra hip area for when she gets older. Obviously, most of that will be taken care of by the puberty blockers, but we need to shave down those hips and really construct something. And with that leftover bone material, we construct a phallus. a huge, hulking, vascular, okay? I mean, this thing looks like it could lift up a car. We create a brand new penis for this girl. We, of course, remove any form of breast. We remove the nipple entirely. Why even make it look like a man? Why does a man even have nipples is what my wife and I say to each other. And sometimes we say this while on stage performing the surgery. And then, of course, we perform these secondary surgeries, the facial feminization surgery. We give hair implants. We do the whole thing. We scoop out my daughter's fallopian tubes, her ovaries. We don't want these kids being able to reproduce ever. If they ever even change their minds about being in vaudeville, we don't want them to do it. And after all the blood and guts is sprayed everywhere, the dog comes and licks it up. My wife, God bless her heart, my wife has figured out a way. She's a seamstress. And she tailor-made a petticoat for my son, now daughter, of course. And she made a beautiful 3-piece suit for my daughter, now son, of course. They put them on, they walk out to the front as they cripply shamble their way to the front of the stage. The spotlight shines down on them. Of course, blood still pouring from their partially open wounds. I'm not the best. Again, my wife is the seamstress. I have to do some of the surgical sewing on this. You know, the stitches aren't the best in my case. Occasionally, we will pull out the stapler and ka-kink, ka-kink. Point is, they come out at this part, and that's when the crowd goes wild. Now, have you ever heard of an act like that? Well, the talent booker looks at the man, horrified. What the fuck? What the fuck is that? Jesus Christ. You call that an act? You perform this in front of people? What the fuck? Nobody wants to see that. That's horrifying. Dear God, God have mercy on your entire family's souls. God have mercy on any audience that you've subjected to this. Who on earth would allow such a horrifying thing? I mean, it's against God. It's satanic. What you're doing is awful. It's horrible, and yet I'm intrigued. What do you call it? A godforsaken act like that? The aristocrats!
Support the show. Join the Pizza Fund. Podawful.pizza.
Pizza.
Podawful.pizza.
Pizza.
And let's see what they're saying in the chat. Wow, I'm getting a round of applause for that intro. One of the best intros of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, we're living in a brand new world. I don't know up from down, left from right myself, to be honest. At this point, Netflix is now saying it's okay to make trans jokes. This is not where I saw things going. Although I think it's time to dive just a little bit deeper into all of this. I kind of don't trust what's going on over there. If you don't know this, I had a video removed by YouTube after the pact I made with Susan, and I realized, okay, well, it's the paranormal stuff that I was talking about. Obviously, they're trying to hide the truth, but what really, really struck me was I got worldwide blocked by Netflix for the Norm Macdonald episode. Now, my first thought, obviously, is that, well, then they must want to hide the truth that Norm was trying to spread. But the rabbit hole goes so much deeper. Norm Macdonald was good friends with Dave Chappelle. I don't know if you know this. Great friends with him. And Dave respected him very much. Norm respected Dave Chappelle so much as well. And that's all fine and dandy, but I have a little bit of a problem with this. You see, there's an issue. Stand-up comedy is dead. It died with Norm Macdonald. It's bad. It's terrible. I've seen Dave Chappelle's most recent, his newest special. Every year, a special. They really ought to call them regulars. I've seen Dave Chappelle's new regular, and I have to say, it was... When the bar is so low for comedy, Dave Chappelle doesn't have to try so much. But hey, we all got to clap. Because we agree with the man. The man said the things that we've been wanting him to say. We all wanted to hear them. Yay! That's comedy. That's the same thing as comedy. Yeah, I'm starting to believe that people only like Dave Chappelle, like white people only like Dave Chappelle, because it's mostly white people going in and defending. You know, black people never cared one or the other. They're like, yeah, Dave Chappelle, he's one of our comedians. We love him. White people love going in, oh, it's the culture war. We're talking about it. I think white people only like Dave Chappelle because he did what they want all black people to do, which is go back to Africa. So I want to go through all of this. I want to figure out what's going on. I want to figure out what's going on with this Ted Sarandos from Netflix guy. We're going to go into the entire thing here, and we're going to transvestigate Dave Chappelle's comedy and Dave Chappelle, the man himself. There's something strange afoot, and after Sunday's show, I'm still in a conspiracy-minded mood. So let's go bully the internet, and remember, this episode is Pizza Fund only, $12 level and up. If you want to see the whole thing, podawful.pizza for the premium episodes. Get yourself a slice delivered today, podawful.pizza. This is Pod Awful.
Pod Awful sucks.
The dark future is here, it's here. The internet is screwed from the space on the moon. Chasing bullies with goons. Pod Awful's watching you.
Sorry, nigga.
I'm Tom Gully, and you're watching Is This Live, the show
This content right here
on the Pod Awful TV network.
is Pizza Fun's own.
Podawful.pizza.
This shit is beefer. You're listening to Howdy Do with J. Crew.
Podawful.pizza.
We got shooters in these streets.
Nigga.